Turns out, Fortnite actually has a story, and I'm not talking about the single player, I'm talking about the Battle Royale version. There's a story going on here, and we're gonna figure it out because I love video game lore. I haven't played a game of Fortnite since I won my first and only solo game back in probably 2018. I've peaked and I don't think I need to fall off from there, so I'm just gonna assume that I'm still at my peak. And let's learn the Fortnite story.
In the last 5 years, we've witnessed Fortnite's island constantly facing off against world-ending threats. So while things sometimes feel disconnected, after years, everything will tie together to create the next era of the storyline in Chapter 4.
I can't wait to see how they explain Ariana Grande and Naruto in the Fortnite map.
This entire time, there's always been one thing the story has revolved around. While you might expect it to be a person or organization, it's actually this orb of energy. This is the center of not just our story, but the creation of life itself. Millions of years before Chapter 1, there's a
comic? Is that Batman? What is... Oh my god.
The Big Bang, which formed every universe in existence. The first one being Reality Zero, and it's here where our journey takes place. The aftermath of the Big Bang left behind a huge mass of energy known as the 0 point, which is tethered to every single reality. Because of this,
oh my god, is that how they explain all the characters being in the same universe? Is because there's a reality point that just goes out and grabs heroes from different realities and pulls them in? Why can't it grab the average Joe? Why can't it grab Great Aunt Sally out there walking her chihuahua?
Trying to gain control over it for countless years.
Is that Galactus?
It found a way to defend itself. The island was created to disguise the 0 point, sandwiching itself between two chunks of land.
Well, it didn't do a very good job, did it? Everyone knows where it is.
On the surface was a powerful storm along with a fake sky, appearing as a huge bubble in space and time. Anyone who went here was wiped out by the storm until one person defied the odds, becoming the first to wield the 0 point's power. This was Geno, an immortal scientist who's obsessed with perfection. Along with his mysterious inner circle, Geno created an organization known as the Imagined Order, with one goal in mind: to create the ideal society. He thought that if he could see how every world was made, he could use that information to perfect his surroundings, even going as far as genetically modifying his own daughters. So the Imagined Order built the Bridge, a base of operations where they could control the storm, using it to create the Loop. This is an experimental program that forces people to fight each other over and over again.
Oh my god, they're finding actual story reasons for the gameplay. That this is just some kind of science experiment that will allow people to find the perfect members for their ideal society? Wow. But how do you really know that they're the perfect member of an ideal society? All this is telling you is that they can kill other people. It's not telling you that they can do taxes or make roads or not be a lunatic and shoot up a Walmart.
And to make it a fair contest, it removes your memory, stops you from speaking, and resets every 22 minutes. Now, of course, nobody would agree to this, and that's why the IO opened portals to countless realities, kidnapping whoever they wanted for their new society. This went undetected for years, until Geno kidnapped the wrong kind of people. Some of them were extremely intelligent and managed to escape the loop, realizing
wow, the Fortnite OG characters are more intelligent than, like, Naruto, Goku. Okay, they're actually idiots. But Rick is in Fortnite! All the Fortnite characters, all the original characters that have been introduced, they're smarter than every other existing IP characters and Ariana Grande.
This horrifying program needs to be stopped. They formed a group dedicated to fighting against him, naming themselves the Seven. Their goal: to liberate the 0 point and destroy the loop no matter the cost. Our story begins hundreds of years later when the Visitor arrives on the island. He crashes down on a meteor to test the capabilities of their suits, protecting them from the loop. With the mission successful, he rifts back home, but this causes a huge domino effect that we're still feeling today. Before the rift closes, a dark energy emerges in the form of a cube. It has enough power to destroy the island in a single blow, and this clearly isn't the first reality to be conquered. Even though
oh my god, this is way more in depth than I thought it would be.
The 0 point is able to defend itself, it needs help next time around. When a huge shard of ice crashes into the island, an alien creature is unleashed. The Imagined Order are perfectly fine with the monster killing everyone, but there is one person trying to convince them otherwise: the Paradigm, a skilled pilot and member of the Seven. She's currently imprisoned by the IO, who are worried that the monster poses a threat to the 0 point.
See, the Seven look like they're evil characters with their red masks and all, but technically they have the better ideology, which is to end the loop and the constant fighting and violence that's going on inside of it.
Instead of their plan to kill it with a doomsday weapon, she offers to pilot the mech and defeat it herself. So
how did you import a mech to the island anyway? Or the fake island with the 0 point in it? How did you get the mech there?
IO's engineers, Singularity, constructs the robot while Paradigm prepares for the final showdown. After a huge battle, she emerges victorious and decides to investigate where the monster came from. The Seven are furious when they learn about this, especially the Foundation, who labels her a traitor. He's satisfied pretty quickly when they find out the robot crashed into a nearby planet called the Ice Moon. The temperatures are so low that it's impossible to survive, leaving them to assume Paradigm is dead. Now,
is this part of the Fortnite map?
The monster exposes 0 point, and it's destabilizing fast. As it prepares to implode, everything gets sucked into the orb, and for days, we get our first look at the nothing. It is pure darkness. The name speaks for itself, as there is literally nothing left.
Wait, was this when everyone was clickbaiting like, Fortnite is ending for good, and they had the event where everything just goes, but then Fortnite came back like 2 days later? So that's actually a really cool event to have, where it's like Fortnite is dying, and then they delete it, and they actually kept the game offline for like a certain amount of time afterwards, which is pretty ballsy when you need to make money. So it's actually a pretty, I would say, artistically driven decision to make, which I can respect quite a bit.
For a black hole. Once the 0 point is stabilized, it spits everything back out, allowing the imagined order to gain control of the bridge and continue as normal. With the loop up and running again, they send a team of agents to survey the area. But this is where you need to understand one of the key elements of the story. Anyone who escapes the loop leaves behind a clone of themselves known as a snapshot. This team of agents came face to face with their snapshots, but there was something different. They weren't clones. They had been altered somehow, and the true perpetrator was about to reveal himself.
Was it Gino?
A mad scientist with a thrilling backstory. He was part
There's 3 fingers. How are you supposed to be a scientist with 3 fingers? How are you going to hold on to things? How are you going to hammer with 3 fingers?
A crime syndicate known as Shadow, founded by a mob boss with a hunger for power. For years, this group worked undercover.
Yo, Ben actually one of the people that that makes these videos. This is the basic part of the story is too convoluted. We spent like a whole week making these vids because of it. That is so funny that the Fortnite story is so convoluted. I love that. That's awesome. Well, this is pretty easy to kind of take in for now. So you did a good job explaining it.
Blackmailing people, gathering information, and amassing a huge wealth. At the top of this empire was Midas. Just like the legend he's based on, Midas was punished for being extremely greedy. At one point, he went searching for the body of King Oro, hoping to find his golden treasures, but instead, Midas found the curse of the Golden Touch. As time passes, Chaos Agent betrays him and takes Shadow for himself. And so Midas is furious, and he uses his wealth to create a new organization, Ghost. As they wage war against one another, a more important battle lies ahead. This marks the beginning of the Loop Breaker project, which we'll learn more about in Chapter 4. But the outcome of this is his device that'll push back the storm and destroy the loop once and for all. The Imagined Order, more importantly John Jones, is trying to stop it.
This is an actual important character? I thought he was just the default skin that does the default dance, and then he does like the L and he does the floss. But John Jones, most generic man in existence, actually matters in the story.
He's a field agent who has dedicated his life to the organization, leaving behind hundreds of snapshots. After Midas' plan is shut down,
that's why there's so many of them.
It isn't long before Jones faces a new threat from outer space, and it leaves the 0 point exposed once again.
Galactus is the most insane enemy to pull up. Galactus is like a universal bustin' enemy that is a threat to everyone in every universe.
Anyone escaping the loop, so he recruits the galaxy's best bounty hunters to maintain order on the island. Throughout the next few months, Jones travels to 88 different realities.
Mandalorian.
His job, he learns that the IO didn't do theirs. The 0 point is on the brink of imploding. He begs his boss, Dr. Sloan, to do something, but she doesn't listen. They would rather let it destabilize than risk losing control, but not on Jones's watch. But
hold on, this 0 point is supposed to be the center of all the universes, so if you let it destabilize and let it blow up, then you're done. Everyone's done. Everything is dead. You're gonna got whiplash when you watch season 3 story that changed the whole storyline.
Yeah. He abandons the IO, turning his back on the organization he dedicated his life's work to. There's no choice but to take matters into his own hands.
That's a hero right there.
Your orders. No.
Let's go, Jonesy.
I'm gonna do what we should have done from the very start. I'm going to the 7.
You took an oath. You're betraying everything we did.
After throwing his portal device into—
Hey, hang about. He's not betraying everything you worked for. If everything you worked for is just the implosion of every single universe, then that doesn't seem like a very good result anyway. So betraying everything that you work for is not that bad of a thing, because living is better than not living.
0 point, Jones summons the Foundation and asks for help. He refuses to work with him until Jones presents an offer he can't refuse, taking him to Geno. As the 0 Point breaks down, and
he's
is
the
on
guy
brink
behind
of
everything.
tearing itself apart, it starts to bloom like a flower. Jones says that he spent his whole life studying it, but this is the first time he's ever seen it react like this. There is no time to appreciate the view as the day.
To be fair, the Fortnite events are genuinely very good. The fact that they can have these events go on all at the same time with massive servers full of people showing these like very like in real time happening events is crazy. They are, I would say, a technical marvel that they're able to pull this off. If other game companies tried to pull this off, they would fumble and they would fall flat on their face.
Damage is irreversible. This thing is about to explode and take the entire island with it. There's only one option left. To contain the blast, the Foundation seals himself into a tower of stone. In the ultimate sacrifice, Jones overloads his portal gun, leaving him trapped in the loop. The spire is extremely tall, cutting off access to the 0 Point entirely. The Imagined Order is furious and arrests Jones for treason. Without
He just saved the multiverse, man. Cut him a bit of slack, yeah?
At the 0 Point, the IO needs to improvise. There are two ways to travel across the Omniverse, with the main one being pure portals. This was the only method the IO knew about, but there is another way, sideways rifts, which could be opened without the 0 Point. It's a technology that the Seven experimented with in Chapter 1 through the rocket launch, but they quickly realized that it takes a long time to close, making it extremely risky. This is what led to the arrival of the Corruption Cube that nearly destroyed the island, and thanks to the Spire, it was about to get so much worse. With nobody in control of the 0 Point, it's left completely vulnerable, and this is where a huge mothership approaches the Spire, obliterating it in an instant. Foundation is ejected out of the orb, while Sloan has no choice.
Nah, he tanked that? That's insane. If he can tank a beam like that, he's probably the strongest character in this entire verse.
To fight against the invasion. This mothership unleashes an army of aliens known as the Chimera as they abduct POIs and attempt to destroy the island piece by piece. Sloan begins work on Operation Sky.
Mate, you had this absolutely massive mothership that fires a death beam that destroys the 0 Point spire immediately. And then you're like, okay, let's destroy the island piece by piece and send out your soldiers 2 by 2 so that they can, what, like use a jackhammer or something?
Skyfire, a way to take down the invaders and save Reality Zero for good. But for this to work, she needs the element of surprise. She plants dozens of bombs underneath Corny Complex and leaks the location to the Chimera, and they take the bait immediately. Now, Operation Skyfire won't work without the help of loopers. Sloan sends them into the mothership to make sure everything goes smoothly, even though this plan is
The loopers are the names for the characters, I assume.
bulletproof. There is one thing Sloan never accounted for. While she masterminded the ambush, the Chimera had a surprise of their own.
This is impossible. We thought it was gone for good.
Oh my god, it's the Black Temple of Nagash.
Sloan is terrified, realizes the true scale of the threat, even though the looper
Okay, now it reminds me of that one cube in Dead Space. The thing that corrupts everyone.
to shut down the cube, she leaves them to die. In a desperate attempt to survive, they reboot it, removing all of the dark energy and corruption to turn it blue.
Wait, they removed the corruption by turning off and turning it back on again? Ah, the ultimate solution still works, I see.
The elevator begins to rise, and this is where the reveal sets in. The Chimera weren't in charge. They were just a weapon, warriors of a larger enemy called the Last Reality, and their leader, the Cube Queen, has thousands of cubes at her disposal. Sloan sending
you're gonna
the
have to turn them
entire
all
wrath of
off.
the Last Reality towards the island, or so we thought. Just like the cube before it, this mothership was part of a colossal army, and the Queen was prepared to summon them. Now, luckily, no one is giving up yet. Time and time again, the Seven have been here to save reality, and this was their toughest challenge yet. For years, they have been putting together a plan that would take down the Last Reality and the IO in one quick sweep. With the Queen's sideways portals about to open, we catch a glimpse of the force she's about to unleash. While a war wages on the surface, Sloan is
Jesus Christ, this is insane. I didn't realize Fortnite was this in-depth.
about to terminate prisoner D204, aka John Jones. But seconds before
He's
they get exact
back!
revenge, they are ambushed by an old friend.
He's back. Nice punch. Oh, he just deleted him. Damn. Listen, I thought this was a kid's game. What's with all the violence in this?
You came back for me.
You promised me, Geno.
No, no, no! He's in fucking everything! Why is he everywhere? Are you kidding me? It's The Rock? Come on, man. He is literally everywhere. Well, of course, he's the main character, the protagonist of Fortnite. He's The Rock, and he comes in and saves everyone. Because he's all about drive and power and being cock and devour.
Well, love you too, buddy.
As they head to the 0 point chamber, Foundation tells Jones to turn off the gyro system, which will take everyone to the other side. As the island begins to flip, they rush to complete their plan and take control of the bridge. It's the final step that'll put an end to all of the fighting and free the 0 point forever. And that's exactly why it fails, as the last reality show up
We can't have Fortnite be ended now, can we?
breaking open the glass and ruining their plan. It's only a small victory for the last reality as the island continues to flip, destroying the Cube Queen's portal. Her
Oh my
army
God.
is defeated for now.
But the
But
loop's still
I can't say
going.
the same for the Imagined Order, who are already plotting their counterattack. Sloan
That's the one with
emerges from
Gino
the
in.
ground wearing snow stealth gear to scout the new island. The Seven already know what's coming, a full-scale war. The scientist has an idea, but it's risky. The only way for them to survive the upcoming battle is help from an old friend. He believes that communicating with the Paradigm is their only hope, but the rest of the Seven refuse to listen. As far as they're concerned, she's a traitor and probably dead, but the scientist isn't gonna give up that easy.
But she's
He
gonna
breaks
come
into the Paradigm,
back.
learning that she's alive.
The mecha's back! I love that they made a mecha with a giant fuzzy pink teddy bear
And
head.
trapped inside the mech, but he needs to convince the Foundation to begin a rescue mission. So he lies, pretending he's talking to the AI in her suit. This is enough to deceive the Foundation, and they begin their journey to the Ice Moon. Meanwhile, the Imagined Order is out in full force. They have built a huge base of operations at Covert Cavern, forming a massive army of blimps, drills, and soldiers. At dawn, they begin their attack. The Zero War has begun, as the Resistance comes face to face with the IO on the battlefield. It's a bloodbath.
Jesus
as
Christ.
Sloan and her army take over the island and surround the sanctuary. But with the help of the Loopers, the Seven fight
I love the idea that just like 5-year-olds running around as Jonesy with the pickups in the middle of all of this. In the grand battle, the Zero War! And there's just a 5-year-old that's like farming wood and stuff like that so he can crank some sick 90s and dunk on some haters.
back. After months of war, they're able to take control of Tilted Towers, shoot down the IO blimps, and turn the tide. But
They took control of Tilted Towers! Now they have all the resources of Tilted Towers! That's like 1,000,000 brick!
the Order becomes desperate. Geno and Sloan begin to work on a doomsday device that'll annihilate everybody on the island. Ironically, it's the same plan that Paradigm stopped in Chapter 1, and now she has to do it all over again. As the
I guess you could say it's kind of like a loop.
Seven rescue her, scientist reveals that he lied as she explains her betrayal from all those years ago. Reluctantly, Foundation agrees to rebuild the mech and end the Zero War once and for all. It all comes to a close in the grand finale collision as the Mecha Strike Commander blasts towards the island. In a huge battle, both sides clash one last time.
Is this
as
gameplay? Wait, can you do this in the game? You can just like pilot the mech in the game? I remember when they put cars in Fortnite and I was like, cars in Fortnite? That's dumb and stupid. Now they put massive mechas? That's cool.
is the first to fall. Thousands of IO units are wiped out as the Seven approach the collider, and when the war
He's a
seems
lightsaber?
lost, Dr. Sloan is the last line of defense. Jones
No.
tells everybody to hold their fire. Him and Sloan have been co-workers, even friends, for hundreds of years. She
Don't
wasn't
do it.
always like this.
Jonesy,
He's
no.
offering her a chance to finally redeem herself.
No, don't do it.
Surrender and stop the bloodshed.
No, Jonesy, you're gonna get shot. It's gonna be like one of those moments in the movies where it's like, no, stop. We can still be good. We can still be friends. And then the villain's like, we couldn't be friends since years ago. Bang. And he's like, no, I've been betrayed for another time.
But Sloan is too stubborn. She refuses to give up and aims her tank right at the Seven. What she doesn't realize is that she never had a choice. It was give up or die. So with
Damn.
only Geno remaining, he attacks his daughters, the Order and the Imagined, who joined the Seven after he replaced them with superior snapshots. The Imagined is hungry for revenge, no matter what it costs. And it's here she gets her final wish, tackling her father into the 0 point and killing both of them.
Is that Gino gets killed?
As it cycles through countless realities per second, it rips them apart and scatters their atoms across the Omniverse. The Imagined dies in Geno's arms as he slowly fades away too. But before he goes,
Yeah,
Geno
they're both
leaves
dead.
one final message for the Foundation. You always believed my methods were abhorrent, that you knew a better way. Congratulations, now you get to prove it. I genuinely hope you're right, because if you fail, it means the end of everything.
Oh man, that's a pretty good way to go. For a villain to go, that's a pretty sick way.
Go now. I have to admit, it's good to lay my burden down after all this time. It'll be nice to rest.
Damn, okay, of all the ways for a villain to die, that's like top 5.
Just say they should have listened to his warning. While the island parties celebrating their victory in the war, Zero
This is like in Fable 3 when you finally become the king and then realize the kingdom is actually totally fucked and there's like no way to save it.
blooms and nature takes over. But it begins to send out distress signals. Strange relics start to appear around the island, and the scientist is confused and really can't understand why it's doing this. The 0 point isn't searching for powerful weapons, something much more sinister is. Secretly, using the reality tree's power, the Herald finds the strongest weapon yet. Visiting the darkness, the nothing beyond all realities, she finds an evil presence. It gives her
Of course. Why is there not like nice presences, or at least neutral presences in the deep darkness? How can you not be nice for once, that are just like, hey, what's going on, guys? We came over, we're buds. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna watch movies together. It's gonna be sick.
Chrome, and it's about to be unleashed upon the island. The last reality can finally exact revenge. With Geno out of the way and the 7 caught off guard, they consume everyone. Only Paradigm is able to
jeez, he just turned to goop.
Unknown reality 659. They have spent years annihilating universes, ensuring that they are the only ones left standing. But there are infinite realities, and the 0 point is the only way to truly ensure that every single one is destroyed. With
Jesus Christ.
Chrome, it's time to finally complete their plan and ensure that the nothing is truly inevitable. The Paradigm is currently investigating the Loop Breaker project, hoping the answers are hidden inside. And it seems the only way to fight this Chrome is with gold. That is unless Geno returns sooner than we thought.
Midas?
He's currently piecing himself back together across multiple realities, so maybe he'll arrive just in time. After 4 years of constant mystery, action, and most importantly evolution, it is all coming together on December 3rd. Now you are fully—
December 3rd, we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait to see what happens next in the story, because we already have the next story video all ripe and ready to go, so we can see what happens next. The season 3 storyline explained, which is the next piece of the puzzle, the next piece of the story.
Has ushered in a new era of the storyline, introducing 2 mysterious groups who are desperate to control the island. May feel like this all happened overnight, but Fortnite removed half the live event, which answered a ridiculous amount of questions. This entire chapter ties back to the 7, the Imagined Order, and the longest running mystery in the game. So to understand everything, we have to return to the Fracture event. After the 7 were consumed by Chrome, it continued to spread across the island, leaving nothing behind. In the final moments of the last reality's plan, the Herald weakened the 0 point and finished what she set out to do. As the Chrome slowly consumed her, the island exploded into thousands of pieces, and in the blink of an eye, everything we knew was gone.
Wait, so Fortnite just dies. Fortnite is over. It's done. Fortnite is dead.
0 point was now exposed as the last reality closed in, but this wasn't the end. It fought back and destroyed the mothership, escaping to an unknown reality, and in the aftermath, we're left floating through space with some pieces of the island surviving. This
Fortnite's
kickstarts
coming back?
and Amy's plan, Zero Fusion, a way to reforge the island and create a new home for all of us. So the 0 point begins to pull pieces back together, but it's forced to take fragments from other realities, and this comes at a huge cost.
They take fragment for other realities. Okay, here's what you do. You take Stark Tower, and you take the Sahara Desert, and you take Whiterun from Skyrim, take the Hidden Leaf Village, and put them together. Then you have the perfect island.
Paradigm explains the
Take
risk
Pallet
of fusion.
Town.
We're left to believe that she sacrificed herself to make it happen. As she vanishes, her decoded message is all that's left of the 7, and now our attention is turned to Chapter 4, a brand new island and a fresh start for the storyline. Agent Jones and Amy are the
So
only—
they just rebooted the entire story. They said, actually, everything's needed to start from the beginning. But the original people that were controlling this whole loop situation are dead now. Like, Geno's gone, and he's like, well, reality's gonna fall apart. Hope you can figure something out. And then, I mean, it was right. Wait, he was right. Reality did fall apart. Reality fell apart, and then it reassembled itself because of that 0 point in the middle that was just grabbing stuff from all the different places. He was right. What can I say? It's like saying Thanos was right, except Geno was actually genuinely right.
Characters left alongside the most important villain in Fortnite's history, and he has brought an entire kingdom with him.
Hang
One of
about.
the realities that we caught in Zero Fusion is the medieval world from thousands of years ago. It's full of castles, towns, and statues, and in the throne room, controlling it all is the Ageless. This mysterious knight is known as the People's Champion, who prefers the sword to the crown and will fight anyone to protect his kingdom. He sounds like a noble hero, and while that might be true, he is also hiding one of the biggest secrets in all of Fortnite.
Dude, that trope of, he looks like a noble warrior, but he's hiding a dark secret. You know, they had to bring that into Fortnite
His
as well.
kingdom is known as the Oathbound, and he rules it from the Citadel, a huge fortress with a throne room, dining hall, and grand entrance.
I always thought the idea of throne rooms is really silly, because if you go and sit on a throne all day, what are you gonna do? You can't scroll through TikTok in the Middle Ages. Do you read a book? What are you doing? Go and sit on the throne? I don't think kings ever sat on the throne unless they were entertaining an audience and they had to look all royal and regal. So they would say, oh yes, we will introduce you in the throne room, but they would never use it apart from that. I bet it's full of cobwebs and dust.
If you look closely at the symbols on the walls and the flags hanging from the ceiling, the Oathbound are more familiar than we realize. Come to think of it, the Ageless's armor is also extremely familiar. It hints at the true nature of this kingdom and its leader, who is revealed to be Geno, the founder of the Imagined Order.
I bloody knew it! It was the original guy, but he got disintegrated. But then I suppose the entire universe and reality got disintegrated. So when it was put back together, he may have been revitalized.
Nemesis of the Seven. His appearance in Chapter 3 showed an older man who seemed more experienced, but also cruel. The Ageless is none of those things, but there's a reason why. This is a snapshot of Geno from thousands of years ago, who was left behind to rule the Oathbound while he went to conquer Reality Zero. After taking control of the Zero Point, he was able.
So this is like the original version, or the precursor version to the one that ended up running the whole situation previously.
Bridge and create his masterpiece, the Imagined Order. But that doesn't mean they were first, as the Oathbound are his original society. Their name actually references the oath that Geno believes in, and the modern IOs still follow it to this day.
You took an oath. You're betraying everything we stood for you.
While the real Geno.
Oh, that's a reference to the previous season. It all comes together now. At least there's some kind of continuity between the two.
Recovering from his quote-unquote death, the Ageless is here to restore balance and expand his kingdom. They are already conquering the island, trying to recruit as many people as possible. Many allies have already jumped on board, like Scrap Knight Jules, who says, the tech on this new island is intriguing. Apparently, she's willing to work with anyone who could teach her about it, even.
Bro, you are a medieval woman. They wouldn't even let you anywhere near tech. Also, your mind should be blowing. Your brain cells should be melting out of your ears. If you're a medieval woman and you just suddenly teleport to an island that has laser beams on it.
Even the Oathbound and their Rift Warden, who we'll talk about later in the video. Raptorian the Brave has also joined the cause, swearing loyalty, but he does admit that it feels a little too perfect. I guess that even in the earliest form of the Imagined Order, perfection was still Geno's #1 goal. But you can't have
He reminds me of Sephiroth a lot, this Geno fella.
a villain without a group of heroes. And even though the 7 story has been put on pause, a new one is just beginning. In the Icy Wasteland, mysterious shrines have been brought to the island. They look like Jedi temples, which would make sense because this is the headquarters of a new group called the Reality Warriors. As the name suggests, these are protectors of reality who are hiding in the snowy mountains at Brutal Bastion. Their architecture is super weird, with floating orbs, circular diagrams, and statues of an unknown woman. In the outskirts of the ice biome,
What do you have against women? Medieval women can be smart. I'm saying they wouldn't let a medieval woman do anything because medieval women didn't have any rights.
there's a forest, and the Reality Warriors have used it to hide their most valuable possession, the Zero Point. Locked away in
There it is. It's hidden under the ground. They'll never be able to find
the
it.
bronze vault, it's surrounded by rocks that give us a massive clue as to the identities of these warriors. If you compare the weird buildings and stone shrines to the modern day sanctuary, it is way too similar to be a coincidence. The Reality Warriors are the 7 from thousands of years ago.
They're back!
One huge question on everyone's mind.
This feels like the Templars versus the Assassins in Assassin's Creed. They've been fighting each other endlessly from the beginning of time. Like this Geno fella with his Oathbound and the Reality Warriors, which were actually the 7, the red mask guys. It seems like an endless loop and fight against each other, almost like Zelda and Link and Ganondorf.
While the Oathbound built statues of their king Geno, this group worships a woman in robes. She's holding a sword and shield in the exact same position as the Ageless statues, which is probably hinting at them being arch enemies. And so while we try and figure out the identity of this woman, it's clear that she is probably the most important character in Chapter 4. If you remember the end event, we watched as a
It's Hylia, the goddess of Zelda.
The island, but there was one piece of dialogue which never quite made sense until now.
Why does she make me keep saving you?
Dude, having Kakashi just sitting there is so silly.
This was over a year ago, and we never learned who the Foundation was talking about, but it's possible this woman is the key to unlocking the entire storyline. Another important detail about the Reality Warriors is their floating orbs, which are a super weird design choice, but they were added on purpose.
No, they
If you
look
at
sick.
the original concept art for Sanctuary, the 7 had weird pods that were connected to the Zero Point. It's the same tech that the Reality Warriors use, and if
a
that wasn't
battery.
enough, their temples are filled with small hidden rooms. Inside of them, you can spot artwork of Looper Landing, which is the place where Foundation gave his famous speech at the start of Chapter 3. So now that you know about the two main forces on the island, you need to see what they're actually up to. It's only the first week of the season, and the Oathbound are already hard at work at total domination. They've discovered a place known as Shattered Slabs, where the rocks are mysteriously glowing. Immediately, they turned it into a quarry, mining the rocks and discovering a new material, kinetic ore. It's a huge upgrade for their medieval kingdom, which up until now is mostly built with stone and wood. Thanks to this discovery, the Oathbound are using the ore to create new technology. When the reality was brought to the island, many towers and castles were still under construction and half finished.
This feels like a redoing of the first war situation where Gino and the red face mask guys had their big war and then everything got deleted and they made a new island and they were like, oh fuck, what do we do now? Oh god, I don't know. We need a storyline, quick. Let's have Gino come back and the red face guys, but now they're medieval, and then they do another
You
war.
can see materials being wheeled in on carts that look like they're falling apart. But closer to the Citadel, these carts have started to be replaced with hovercrafts, and this is terrifying news. The Oathbound have created new weapons like shockwave hammers and Excalibur rifles, and they're looking stronger every
Is that a rifle that shoots Excalibur swords?
single day. This power might have landed in the wrong hands, and Amy isn't helping. She survived the events of Fracture and has spent this time trying to figure out the Paradigm's instructions. So she begins to research the kinetic ore and realizes it wasn't on her old island, but here it's in the fuel, weapons, items, everything. She finds out
It's
that the owner of
nuclear
this quarry
power.
is the Ageless and visits his citadel to learn more. After he studies the refined ore, he says to Amy, "Your gift intrigues me, but do you truly know what you've given us?" That's a little ominous, right? And so with the bridge gone, this is the end of an era for the Imagined Order. No bunkers are on the island for the first time in Fortnite's history, and there's no flip side anymore. It's more like a bowl shape now. This is essentially a prequel season without us actually going back in time, and that is terrifying because this could go anywhere.
That's cool how they're like, okay, we want some old stuff, we want some old-timey stuff, so we're just gonna put all the old-timey stuff in the current world. I think that's kind of funny.
The Oathbound continue to establish control over the island and are quickly setting up the perfect kingdom. They have somehow managed to get the loop up and running again without access to the 0 point.
That is weird. I don't know how they're gonna explain that one away. They don't have their super advanced scientific lab anymore where they can run all the loops and reset it every 22 minutes to try and find the perfect societal members. They just don't have that anymore, but they still have the loop, which is a little bit weird. Unless they have some weird medieval magic they can do it.
Now this also happened in Chapter 2 when the Foundation sealed himself in the Spire and the loop was completely unaffected. It's a great mystery that we have still yet to figure out, but there's one thing we know, and that is how dangerous the Oathbound is becoming. In the season's news tab, it mentioned bringing order to reality as the Ageless, which is a subtle hint that they'll bring the full force of the Imagined Order back to life again. This plan will be completed when the real Geno makes his way home. He is currently rebuilding himself atom by atom after being split apart by the 0 point during collision.
Bro, I don't know. He's pretty strong. If you can rebuild yourself atom by atom, then GG's. I'll let you take that one. You can take the dub there. Listen, I tried my best. Split you into atoms. I really thought that was going to do it. You're rebuilding yourself. That's all right. You know what? You have the advantage in this situation. I bid you adieu.
He's not the only one reconstructing their body. Amy, without the 7 to guide her, is now becoming pretty self-aware. A few seasons ago, she talked about her ideal body with rocket launcher arms, knife feet, and a grappling hook head. And this week's
That's pretty
challenges
sick.
end with a simple request. She wants us to make it for her. It is here we learn about the biggest mystery in Chapter 4, which is the Oathbound quest mentioning the Rift Warden, and we're left wondering who this is. It's an interesting title, as the Citadel is codenamed Light Castle, and rifts are notoriously known as light energy compared to the cube's dark. But the writers of Fortnite has given us some more information about the Rift Warden. We'll have voice lines in the next few weeks, and currently their name is redacted.
No, their name is the Rift Warden.
Also revealed that the Rift Warden will have a father, so they must play a very important role in this season. With the Reality Warriors having control of the 0 point and the Oathbound currently raising an army, the Chapter 4 island is turning into a medieval battleground.
All right, so medieval battleground commence, then what happens? Now, what happens
For the
next?
last 5 years, Geno has been the most mysterious villain of Fortnite, but did you know there's a secret character helping him from the shadows? He has recruited one of Midas's family members to create a portal, and this will play a
Midas?
large
Haven't heard about Midas in a while. He's gone. He's disappeared into the wilderness when everything blew up.
part in the future of the storyline. Let's break down 7 unsolved mysteries in Chapter 4, starting with the Oathbound. This suspicious new kingdom has been confirmed to be an early version of the Imagined Order, which Geno created before leaving his homeworld. And
I swear, it straight up sounds like the Templars from Assassin's Creed. I feel like that's where the inspiration came
to
from.
make sure he didn't abandon his people, Geno created a clone of himself called the Ageless, who has been the king of the Oathbound ever since.
So when Geno eventually comes back after reassembling himself atom by atom, there's going to be a little bit of a civil war between him and the Ageless.
There is a massive question looming over us, and that is the mystery of the Ageless, who could either become the hero or the most dangerous villain of Chapter 4.
I could be your angle or your devil.
The Light Castle, which is an interesting way to describe the Oathbound. As we've learned, light is associated with rifts, and those are mainly used by the 7 and the 0 point. It's an unusual choice of words. It makes you wonder if the Ageless is actually a good guy. And
he's a double agent.
Things get suspicious. He started to recruit everyone on the island, like Raptorian the Brave, who called the kingdom a little too perfect. Someone who's more enthusiastic is Scrap Knight Jules, who thinks the tech on the island is intriguing and is willing to work with anyone who could teach her about it. Then we have characters who are pretty cautious about Geno. When you talk to Joni the Red with her outfit equipped, she says, "Have you heard the adage, those who..."
There are NPCs in Fortnite now? I had no idea. Have you ever heard of the adage, those who seek power shouldn't wield it? Anyone that runs for president should not be president. Any agreeers?
Power shouldn't wield it. Sure sounds like the Ageless might be a villain after all. But right now, we are way more concerned about his mysterious.
She might just be a hater, to be honest.
Doesn't have a name or face, but is already the most crucial character of the season. On day 1, we learned from Scrap Knight Jules that she was willing to work with somebody called the Rift Warden, and the evidence continued stacking up from there. There's a tower just north of the Citadel called Warden's Watch, and whoever lives inside has everyone fascinated. The Fortnite writers tease what to expect later this season and mentioned how excited they were for an unnamed character to appear. They have a voice actor.
I swear to God, if they do another celebrity appearance, it better be like Jack Black. I'm not taking another The Rock or Nick Cage. If you do either of those two, that's fine. Anyone else? I don't know. I'll be a little bit upset.
Everything, which makes us wonder just how important the Rift Warden truly is. It was already the #1 unsolved mystery, but a few days ago, something strange started to happen at Warden's Watch. Construction on some kind of wheel began, but it wasn't until we discovered the blueprints on the table that our minds were blown. Before we explain exactly what this is, you have to understand how it got here, and that all begins with how the 7 messed up. At the start of Chapter 4, Paradigm left a coded message before completely vanishing. This was Amy's final request, and it asked us to investigate a mysterious location called Shattered Slabs. Here, the rocks are glowing, and it looks very similar to the energy the Cube Queen wields. Well, after they get mined, it's revealed to be kinetic ore, and Amy says it's something we've never seen on a previous island. The Oathbound.
But now it's here. Now that the entire multiverse has been reassembled and it just went out and yoinked locations from all around the different universes. Now you got something new on there. Maybe yoink something from the Cube Queen's land, who the Cube Queen I assume is dead now.
Using this as a fuel source, and it powers their weapons, items, everything. But the box left by Paradigm has a refined version of the kinetic ore, which is hundreds of times more powerful. That's what she says to the owner of the quarry.
Nuclear fusion.
Your gift intrigues me, but do you truly know what you have given us?
They're gonna make nukes with it, guaranteed.
Quote-unquote tough night guy isn't the Ageless, but it's actually the Rift Warden. He is secretly working with Midas's daughter Jules to use these rocks for an insane purpose, and it all ties back to this mysterious device at the Warden's tower. Looking at the blueprints, you can see how they're using the ore to create a rift portal, and this poses so many questions. Could this be a gateway to another reality, or are they trying to bring someone to ours? There are some insane theories about what'll happen once the portal is complete. Maybe, just maybe, it could summon the real Geno to the island.
Okay, maybe it'll bring Geno back. Maybe it'll bring some iconic branded IP characters. I was gonna say maybe it'll bring Goku, but Goku's already in. Maybe it'll bring Naruto. Naruto's already in. Who is not in Fortnite at this point? Everybody is in. Oh my God, it's gonna be Subnoodle in it. Subnoodle's not in Fortnite yet. They're finally gonna bring the main character of the series.
Maybe they might use this to go to other realities to create a new army. So who would fight back when this happens? Well, 7 are completely missing, while the Oathbound get more powerful with each passing day. Luckily, that answer is in the Icy Wastelands, where these mysterious shrines have been brought to the island. These may look like Jedi temples, and they're not far from it, because this location is the headquarters of a new group known as the Reality Warriors.
Which is the 7.
The architecture, you'll notice a strange pattern. It all feels very familiar. And hidden inside the buildings, there are blueprints for a round vault door. Well, it turns out you could actually find this for yourself, because on the outskirts of the ice biome, there's a forest where the Reality Warriors hid their most valuable possession, the 0 point. They built extremely fast.
I love how they just hid it in the ground. Like, we need to bury it. We just need to bury it in the ground, and the Oathbound are like fuck, we can't. We don't know how to dig it. We didn't invent shovels yet. We have swords and horses, but we're medieval. We don't have shovels yet. We can't get in there.
Which means they've been doing this for a long time. Who knows how many years they've studied the 0 point and protected reality, but they were definitely here before Geno. I mean, sure, this could be our very first look at the 7 from thousands of years ago, but I think it might be something even more important than that. While the Oathbound built statues of the Ageless, this group worships a woman in robes.
Hylia.
If this really
We
was
know.
an old
Yes.
version of the 7, why is their leader someone we've never met? And the answer to this could be hiding in a live event from 2 chapters ago.
No, they started playing Tears of the Kingdom, and they were like, damn, man, this is really good. Man, Zelda's super good. So they started bringing Hylia statues
During
into
the
it.
Cube Queen's attack, we watched as the group rescued Agent Jones and flipped the island, but there was one piece of dialogue which went totally unexplained.
Okay, so obviously this is like reused footage from the other video, which, to be honest, is completely okay, because it came out like 3 months later.
Why does she make me keep saving you?
She, boom, there, it's the statue girl, bam, she's a god, she's a goddess.
We've never figured out who the Foundation was referring to, but if it's this mysterious leader, it means she has secretly been pulling the strings this entire time. It's totally possible that the 7 were actually members of the Reality Warriors before they broke off and formed their own group. There's so much unexplained backstory.
Or
to
maybe
these
they're still
characters,
part of
and
the
to
same
this
group.
day, we still have no idea why the Foundation has such a strong rivalry with Geno. But that shouldn't distract us from the
They're just the
huge
world's
mystery
greatest
surrounding the
haters.
disappearance of the 7. So we know the Paradigm left behind instructions for Amy, but it's still unclear why she'd want the Ageless to have kinetic ore. She vanished without an explanation, but some theories suggest Paradigm
That's
is
the mecha
actually
lass.
inside the vault at Hidden Henge, protecting the 0 point just like Singularity did in Chapter 1. Still not as confusing though as the return of the loop, because even though the Reality Warriors have control of the 0 point, people are still losing their memories. Frozen Fish Stick was a part of Snowheart's kingdom when it was brought to the island. Only problem is he can't remember her name. In fact, he can't recall anything about his past
Frozen
life,
Fish
confirming
Stick?
the loop is still intact. The same thing happened in Chapter 2 when the Foundation sealed off the 0 point and encased it in a tower of stone. Despite cutting off access to it, the loop was completely untouched, and this remains one of the storyline's biggest mysteries. The Fracture event was supposed to give us concrete answers on the last reality and their terrifying leaders. After the Herald consumed the island, it exploded into millions of pieces and then suddenly cut to black. We only figured out the meaning.
Yeah, I feel like this just when they rebooted everything, but they wanted to keep some of the similar characters. So they're like, oh, Geno's gonna like reimagine himself because they're like, oh man, we killed off Geno, but he was a really cool villain, so we want to bring him back. So they're slowly piecing him back together, and they brought another version of him, which was like the old medieval king guy.
And this thanks to a deleted scene, which shows us exactly what brought us to this moment. After the island exploded, the last reality were meant to continue the plan, arriving in their mothership and abducting the 0 point for themselves. They already tried this once before. While it didn't exactly work out, now there was nothing left to protect it. But what the mothership didn't plan for was the 0 point to wake up and fight back. It flew away to an unknown reality before Paradigm started Zero Fusion, creating the island we're walking
At that point,
on
you just
today.
give up, right?
So if huge pieces of the map survived, then it's entirely possible the Herald wasn't obliterated either. In fact, you can find the remains of her tree right now, and it looks pretty bad for her. I mean, that's totally what's left of the Herald, right?
Oh, see, so she's just chilling out inside the map now.
Well, not as certain as we first thought, because people have noticed a massive,
took a massive
hole at
L.
the back of the tree. And if you listen closely, you could actually hear breathing coming from inside. One theory is that she didn't escape, but is also still alive. It's possible that when she used Chrome to merge with the tree, it had some unexpected side effects, and what we're looking at is the Herald. She can't move or speak because she's now made of wood, which is pretty disturbing if you think about it.
That reminds me of Harold from Fallout 3, the guy that merges with the tree, and he's like, kill me, please, kill me.
And so with that unsolved, we're still trying to figure out what happened to the Loop Breaker project. It was the final build-up to Fracture, where we had to collect classified documents from Jones and deliver them to the Paradigm. The project was of course talking about Midas and his device, which was designed to push back the storm and destroy the loop. Everyone thought this was gonna play a huge role in the event, when in reality, it was never mentioned again. Midas
What? Damn. No, it's got to be just in the back. The Fortnite writers surely wouldn't forget about something like that, especially something as important as a loop breaker event. Maybe they just realized that, oh, fuck, wait, if we break the loop, then we can't do any more Fortnite. And, okay, we'll just push that back.
For years, from unreleased sprays to Donald Buster confirming he is not dead. Over the course of Chapter 3, Midas's old crew were spotted hiding in secret rooms, listening in on the I.O. And this is still happening as we speak. If you go to
They
Brutal
playing
Bastion,
D&D?
there's a hole in the wall which reveals the fate of Meowscles. He's living in this room eating entire crates of tuna, but it still doesn't get us any closer to solving the Midas mystery. The only recent clue we've gotten is a spray which shows Midas fist-bumping Cuddle Team leader, but this is unreleased, so we have to turn our attention to Jules. As we know, she's working on the Rift portal, and if you talk to her as Midas, she'll say, "I don't want to get pulled into any schemes." This might be a hint from Epic that we should probably move on, because he is not doing anything important right now. I mean, even his own daughter is too busy. Is this?
Yeah, he's like, come on, no, shut up. No, we're not doing anything right now, Midas. Go get a victory royale. Go get some chicken dinners. Come on now, pipe down.
The end of an era, or will Midas make his grand return years from now? This has been Tommy. Keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.
No, I don't play Fortnite at all. At all. I don't play Fortnite at all. It's just so interesting to learn all the stories. I love video game lore so much. So it's really interesting for me to learn the stories. It is pretty funny that they were just like, loop breaker events. No, we can't do that. Sorry, we're gonna have to deletion that, please. Okay, now we have finally arrived at the most recent update. Merely 4 days ago, the end of the Fortnite storyline up until now.
The center of Fortnite's island has collapsed after being struck by non-stop earthquakes.
Never mind, Ben just said this is the wrong one, and he owns this channel. Never mind, Ben doesn't own it, he's the scriptwriter, which means that he knows all about what's in the videos. Now it's time to cap off the... Well, actually, no, there's still more after this. Dude, there's so much Fortnite lore. This is awesome.
Fortnite is being struck by earthquakes over and over again, tearing the island to pieces. And without our classic heroes to save the day, things continue to get worse.
Dude, Jonesy cannot catch a break, man. Leave him alone. Let him retire, dude. Let him go to a Miami beach. Get him a villa. This is not fair. He dies over and over again.
These cracks tell a deeper story. A jungle reality is just the beginning of Season 3, because this secretly threatens to destroy everything and everyone in its path. So how do we get here? As the Zero Point formed this new island, it pulled dozens of realities together, creating the ultimate battleground, from ice villages
last time on Dragon Ball Z.
Warriors. One of these realities is the Oathbound, a medieval kingdom ruled by the Ageless, a knight who has defeated countless enemies in combat and somehow managed to stay young for thousands of years.
That art was
Right-hand
sick.
man the Rift Warden was given the task of creating a bridge to new realities, and this wasn't possible with their medieval technology. Well, that's until they were brought to the island, where they discovered a mysterious rock called kinetic ore. Immediately, they began mining it and upgrading their equipment, making
This is basically like Obsidian in Minecraft.
shockwave hammers, futuristic construction tools, and most importantly, the Rift Gate. Stellan worked day and night to build this portal. The kinetic ore was a big help, but he couldn't do it without something else. A voice that guided him every step of the way. He kept his voice to himself, terrified of what it would do if he disobeyed their orders.
Okay, well, this is a voice talking to him.
Like, make the rift, get a sandwich and hot dog, pull a prank on the Ageless, tell him his fridge is running.
A being,
Is that Doom Guy?
a shapeless man,
Slender Man.
watches us with dark purpose.
Definitely Slender Man.
Do not finish the rift gate. The consequences will be terrible.
It's Minecraft Steve.
The final step in building this bridge to realities was deep in the forest, a bronze vault made to protect the Zero Point. Once the portal was aligned, it was ready to go, but Stellan had his doubts.
Soon,
Super Saiyan Gohan?
I do not wish for us to succeed.
Is that bloody Isaac from Dead Space?
Suffer if we fail.
It was becoming more obvious that this gate wasn't meant to connect all realities. It was a portal leading straight to the Shapeless Man. Amy, the scientist's assistant, decided to test this theory by throwing subjects into the portal, and one by one they returned, corrupted with some kind of dark energy. Something evil was about to unleash itself on the island, and we had to stop it.
Aw, we shouldn't have made the bloody Rift Gate in the first place. Come on, just turn it off. Unplug it.
Before we could shut down the portal, someone else got to it first.
Ah, for God's sake, they bloody got to it first.
A member of the Peace Syndicate with her own mission. She wanted to bring her homeworld to Reality Zero, so she tampered with the coordinates, and it worked, bringing Mega City to the island. But at the same time, the Rift Gate was now completely unstable.
This could rip open the entire sky, and we have no idea what's on the other side. The stars help us.
What is it?
It's destroyed.
Oh, good.
The sky is torn.
Oh, not good.
Everything may be ending.
With the
Not good.
destruction of the Rift Gate, Stellan's gone missing, but he leaves us with a prophecy that foreshadows the end of Chapter 4 and reveals the true identity of the Shapeless Man. When Stellan was young, this man came to him in dreams, took him in as his own, and always said he imagined a world of perfect order. We've already heard stories of a man just like this, who was finally revealed in Chapter 3.
Oh, it's Geno. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind, it'll be this guy.
Of course, this is the true leader of the imagined order, Geno. He was ripped into millions
Never mind, it is.
Pieces during the collision event and is slowly rebuilding himself, but now he's trying to rebuild the Order, repeating history once again. That's when Stellan gives us a terrifying prophecy that is yet to come true.
This text prophesies a beautiful monster enabled by the hubris of a champion. You
The Ageless.
beside me on this battlefield. Together, perhaps we can win. The stars will decide in the end. But thank you for everything, my friend.
We never saw Stellan again, and only one person was able to leave through his portal, Amy, on a mission to rescue the Seven. As for the
Did Amy finally get her body with the rocket launcher arms and the knife feet?
people that came from the other side, there were countless of them. 5 new factions suddenly at war, from a peace syndicate in
Cyberpunk
the city
land.
to the Fox clan and the Temple.
The Peace Syndicate is a very interesting name to give to a group of people with explosions going off behind them.
But in the background, controlling this war like a puppet master, was an evil creature, Triarch Nox, a dark warrior of the last reality. He's working
Who?
with a group called the Unseen, with their ultimate goal
Well, I can
to
see
take
them.
control of Megacity. But we team up with the Peace Syndicate to stop them before it turns into an all-out war. If Triarch Nox succeeds, he'll destroy everything, and this plan will also become his downfall.
I tell you what, when you bring all the realities together, you'll find that there's a lot of people that want to destroy everything, which is fair enough because you're bringing all the realities together. It only makes sense to be a lot of folk that want to annihilate everything at the same time, right?
Once the syndicates all meet up and learn about this evil, they decide to work together. He was the only member of the last reality to make it through the portal, so he needs the help of the Unseen for his plan to work. That's
There
when
they
we
are.
put on a disguise and take matters into our own hands.
What?
They'd be fools to work with the last
Banana.
reality, and if they win, there'd be nothing left. Somehow this argument convinces Highwire.
Why do they want that? Why would you want there to be nothing left? Listen, I live because I like food. If there was nothing left, I couldn't eat good food. No more beef, no more popcorn, no more ice cream, no more happiness. Even if you're that big of a villain, surely you'd want ice cream?
down, and she reveals
Think
the
about
tech
it.
she's using to communicate with the last reality. We destroy every trace of it, leaving a huge wrench in Triarch Nox's plan and buying ourselves some time. So just when you thought it was a happy ending, there is no time to celebrate. The 0 point has been lying dormant for months, but something has activated it. Whether Triarch Nox is trying to find it or the Riftgate powered it up, we don't know. Whatever it is, the 0 point is now extremely active. Earthquakes are rocking the island daily, causing the ground to crack open and burst apart. We thought it was trying to escape from the underground, but then something strange happened. Roots began forming from the cracks and jungle vines followed.
Hold on, Roots? I remember that one lass that merged with a tree. Is she coming back to
An
life?
entire reality is breaking through the ground, and it hasn't gone unnoticed. The Luminaries were the first to investigate, but then strange camps appeared around these sites. Mystica realizes we are not the only ones studying these cracks in the ground. Not only are they analyzing the roots, they could be helping them grow. This company has brought in excavators, shovels, and floodlights to make room for the jungle.
There's this random company that's coming in bringing in excavators. It's like, all right, we got bumming construction coming in. Yeah, bring in the lifter there. Come on.
And it's gonna be huge. The biome will be ready in Season 3, bringing major consequences for the storyline and the future of Chapter 4. But we are trying to figure out the identity of this jungle expedition crew. They are going to be very important to the story of Season 3 and are clearly interested in helping this jungle come to life. Mystica is fascinated by the earthquakes, especially their connection to the 0 point, but her research won't reveal anything for a while. Most of the progress is
The 0 point probably got pissed from being underground for months. He's like, come on, man. I want to go see the sunlight. It's like living in the UK. I want to go outside and get some vitamin D for once.
from these mysterious camps. And not only are they disrupting the island, but they might activate the volcano. This has been lying dormant near Mega City since it was introduced, and at first you wouldn't suspect this hill to be a volcano. It looks just like a normal mountain, but the shape reveals a dark secret. If the volcano erupted, molten lava would flow directly into the city, melting everything in its path. So
That'd be
will the
pretty
0
cool,
point
though.
disturb this area and cause an eruption, or will this expedition crew take it into their own hands? It also begs the question, why is the 0 point bringing a jungle to the island? We've seen how it works in the past. Turns out the orb is not
He wanted to do a little bit of gardening. It suddenly grew a green thumb and it was like, you know what I could really do with a little bit of gardening work? That would really make me happy right
a
now.
random ball of energy, but it works just like a flower. We've watched as it blooms, dies, and regrows, and now it could be growing into another tree, but we know the whole
It's the
jungle's
essence of
dying.
life.
This means an entire reality is breaking out of the ground, bringing new characters, locations, and maybe even villains. We've been fooled in the past when a place looks beautiful only to be a distraction, and now it's confirmed that Season Season 3 won't have a crossover as a secret skin. Usually, this is reserved for collabs, and they only decide for important figures. In fact, the first secret skin was also our first ever storyline character, and recently the slot was filled by the Herald and the Foundation. But there is someone that's been rumored for years now, ever since the leak survey, Dr.
Oh, the lass is back! The one that got killed by the mecha and was in the tank.
Has been inevitable. She'll be coming back with Sam powers, and it's only a matter of when.
Sand
There's a time for
powers?
this to make sense, it's summer, but there's also a chance the shapeless man will finally reveal himself. It seems too soon for Geno or anyone else to appear, but plenty of story characters have come out of nowhere. Origin and the sisters had no introduction, and just recently, the Ageless took us all by surprise. It doesn't mean that Fortnite has no collab planned for now.
No! One Piece! They're putting fucking Lego in One Piece? And maybe Doctor Who in this as well? Mate, the Doctor could get this sorted in an instant. I'm very confident the Doctor would have this sorted by afternoon tea.
Optimus Prime is confirmed, and yeah, it's pretty random, but it's promoting Rise of the Beast, which explains the jungle part. I'm just hoping it ties with the storyline with some kind of event, and hopefully we get an explanation for all of this. Some people think he ripped it from Cybertron, but lately collabs haven't been explained, so only time will tell. The biggest
Okay, to be fair, sometimes collabs just happen because they're like, oh, this would be cool, right? Like, come on, if Luffy said, I wanna be in your game, you're not gonna say, no, Luffy, you can't be in my game. If the King of the Pirates comes along, then you let him in. You don't question it.
3 revolves around the syndicates and where they'll go from here. Fortnite usually doesn't go with a happy ending, and they left us on a cliffhanger with the Oathbound and Geno. As for the syndicates, their story seems to be wrapping up, and they're all united, but we'll have to wait and see. This could actually be good news because it'll let us return to the main story involving Amy, the Seven, and the Shapeless Man. Hopefully Season 3 will give us the answers we've been looking for. Right now, Amy is trying to rescue the Seven from Chrome, but it's
Oh yeah, I forgot they got dissolved. That's funny.
like they
Wait, is this Evil the Rock? No, he's the bad guy.
turn evil.
Evil Dwayne Johnson? No!
This is John Jones. We last saw him in the Fracture event, but he has been completely absent in Chapter 4. Honestly, we probably won't get to see any major characters until the next live event. For now, we are left with one clue, Stellan's prophecy that a beautiful monster will come to the island, enabled by the hubris of a champion.
It's a sea monster from One Piece.
But Geno always finds a way to come back, and that was the Fortnite Chapter 4 story.
Well, that's not the end because now there's even more to, fuck, where's the next one? Now for the most updated storyline. What is going on?
Fortnite's island has collapsed after being struck by non-stop earthquakes.
And now there's Optimus Prime.
Revealed an ancient society from thousands of years ago. And in these ruins, drawings and statues warn of a world-ending event. To no one's surprise, we're in a lot of trouble. To make sense of the chaos, a group named the Luminaries rushed to investigate the earthquakes, quickly realizing that a jungle was growing out of the cracks. They set up camp to find answers to what's going on, and it didn't take long to realize there's more to this jungle. This is an entirely new reality that was brought to the island during Zero Fusion, and now it is finally breaking free from underground. At that same time, this payphone started to ring across the map, and when players answered, nothing was on the other side, just silence, and then they hung up. Fast forward to present day, where the forest has completely revealed itself.
I know what happened there. It was a socially anxious person that just got a little bit scared from the fact that they were having to talk to someone. I get socially anxious when I have to talk to people on the phone as well.
And hiding inside is a character that everyone thought was dead. Watching from the shadows, Dr. Sloan returns.
There she is!
After surviving a crushing conflict, Sloan found herself in a long abandoned jungle where she has been recovering ever since. She was the one behind the payphones, but couldn't reach whoever she was looking for. Now she's set up camp near the tank that almost killed her.
Was she just like butt dialing everyone? Just calling random numbers, hoping to get the right one? Hello? Someone's on the other side, it's like, hey, it's me, Goku! He's like, oh, fuck, it's not the right one. Damn.
Sloan has apparently left the Imagined Order, saying to Gunner, I told you I'm done, but it hasn't stopped her from starting a mission of her own. Sloan has a plan that is yet to be revealed, and it involves studying the wilderness of this ancient reality. When you talk to her, she gives you an ultimatum, help her or stay out of her way. Even Fortnite asks us, can she be trusted? It looks like Sloan only survived the jungle thanks to one person, Relic, a hunter who is searching for someone or something. He is probably one of the most mysterious characters in the story right now, especially when we delve into his origins. But before I can reveal that, Sloan scans the nearby temples.
Is this gonna be the guy with the hubris?
Ruins are impossible to date using traditional methods. I don't like it.
I tried to ask how old they were and they didn't reply. It's impossible to date.
As if the residents just vanished.
These villages belong to a reality older than anything we have seen before, and at the center of it, the 0 point is covered in rock and moss. Surprisingly, that's not the
Oh,
most
what? It's just there now? I mean, I guess it broke out, I suppose, but man, it's just out for anyone to claim. Go and grab it quickly.
interesting part of this. Over on the roof of the temple, you'll find the remains of an ancient machine known as the apparatus. It looks like a telescope, sure, but Sloan also thinks it could be a stellar projector. And the clues kept revealing themselves as we collect the shiny gem in the temple, and this introduces us to Trace. He inspects the gem and notices it's a prism made from kinetic ore, and they're
Remember
part of
that?
the apparatus. All of this ties back to the Luminaries as we learn Trace is a member of the group, the same one who's been investigating the jungle since day one, and he is leading the effort to figure out the backstory behind this reality. Over time, we'll find more kinetic prisms for Trace, and he'll use it to slowly rebuild and charge the apparatus. It's powered by kinetic ore, despite the fact that this civilization is probably hundreds of thousands of years old. This means they were very intelligent and had a lot of power. Sloan describes them as scientists and visionaries, so the question is, what did they do with it? We'll take a look at the
And
carvings
why
in
did
the
they
temple
disappear?
walls, and you'll find a drawing of the apparatus in its prime. It shows it projecting a shape into the sky, and if this looks familiar, yeah, it's a resemblance to the cube's cradle. Further down the wall, this drawing actually looks like the end event from Chapter 2, with the pyramid blasting a beam into the sky and causing the cradle to appear. It's also based on the statues you can find around the jungle, showing ancient scientists with robot heads and gowns.
How did they know this would all happen? Well, what if it's all a time loop? What if these ancient relics were actually made after the events of Fortnite, meaning that everything that is about to come has already happened, and what has already happened will happen again? It's all one big time loop that can never end, because we can never stop the microtransactions and money farming from 10-year-olds.
Not to mention the runes on the walls are pretty similar to those used by the cubes, which many theorize to be the earliest form of their language. Now let's loop back to Relic, the hunter who saved Sloan from the wreckage. Fortnite always names their characters with a hint to their story, and the word Relic is very important this season. Aura is a treasure hunter, so a jungle full of artifacts is basically her paradise, and she has already set her sights on a relic called the Chalice of Cubetastrophe. And say what you will about the last reality, but they suck at naming things. Either way, this chalice was a powerful
I mean, that's got to be related to those dark cubes that you had to reboot and turn off and turn back on again, right?
made by the cubes capable of leveling the entire island. It is made of gold, and that's attracted someone else to it, a character we had long forgotten about who's made a surprise return in Season 3. As we track down the map to the Chalice and uncover clues, it becomes more obvious who's after it. The Chalice has found a new wielder and is gaining power, and can be contained if we find it in time. This is where we finally uncover the relic, and with a gold sacrifice, Aurelia is revealed. We banish her from the Chalice and give it back to Aura, who seals it away so no one can use its power again. The question is, why was this cube relic in the jungle? Did someone leave it here, or is it yet another clue in the origins of the ancients?
It's a trap!
Let us ask Sloan.
I've scoured the villages of the people who lived here. Their inventions, their writings. They used refined kinetic ore to create amazing technologies. They were scientists, visionaries.
So either they came from the same dimension that the kinetic ore is from, or my theory is correct, and when the kinetic ore was pulled onto the island, it becomes a time loop, which means that they can use the kinetic ore on the island to create the amazing things, but then it all loops back, which is the reason that they know that the catastrophes will happen in the first place, and they can make those drawings and carvings of them.
And now, all we have of them is relics.
There's another important character coming into play here. Era has mostly gone under the radar, but Fortnite is intentionally hiding secrets like her 0 point clock or the idea the past lives within her. We have no idea how Era got to the island, but she's themed around time, so obviously she's some kind of time traveler. Everything refers to her ancestors who beckon her towards her destiny, but they're also known as past eras.
Like every era before me? Oh, right. It's a play on words. She's called Era, but also era is a period of time, like every era before me. Okay, that makes sense. But also, it could play into there being a time loop. Again, Daniel could be correct. There is a time loop, potentially. It could signify that there are versions of herself in the past and the future, but it also could signify just periods of time in the past as well. Who knows?
She has multiple snapshots or versions of herself, which she calls her ancestors. But it looks like Era could go back in time to see these past lives. Either that, or she shares their memories and they share hers. It reminds me of Attack on Titan. In her loading screen, it claims she will learn from the past to protect the future, which explains exactly why she's here in the ancient jungle. Looks like most of our characters are trying to do the same thing, but the scariest warning comes from someone you would least expect. Fortnite is bringing crossovers into the story once again with Optimus Prime, who is
Optimus Prime, what are you doing here?
Check the radio stations around the map, listen to his secret transmission, and he reveals a terrifying threat.
This reality is doomed to collapse. But
He has a cool voice.
it's not yet lost. I cannot sustain this broadcast for much longer. Listen, and more will follow.
As we're approaching the end of Chapter 4, it is no surprise these warnings have already started, and it's all
Jesus
thanks
Christ.
to this ancient reality. The 0 point is sealed in stone, and everyone's confused. Did it do this to itself? Well, that answer may be right in front of us. In the files right now,
What the
0
fuck?
point
See, what happened to the Oathbound? What happened to the medieval kingdom? Are they just like, well, got a blast. I guess we're just gonna dip for now until Gino reassembles his atoms again. They're like, hold on, we need to do a special Optimus Prime event first. The money comes first. We have to make sure the new Michael Bay movie gets its time in the sun.
is petrified, and if you listen closely through the stone, you'll hear it groaning in pain and fear. This is all building up to the next phase of the orb, known only as Zero Lava, and finally, that dormant volcano next to Mega City might actually do something. From volcanic rocks in the files to this new Zero Lava, will it be the result of the volcano, or will the 0 point explode with molten rock to protect itself? Most importantly, what is it petrified of? There's something strange
What is it petrified of? That's kind of funny
about
sentence.
this forest. Not only is Sloane gonna find the answers, this is the start of her new journey, and it's all thanks to Trace. As we know, Sloane originally had sand powers in the concept art, but those are nowhere to be seen in game. She also has a new symbol on her
Because it
back
would be really cool, but also too overpowered for just give her skin sand power, so it would be sick if she
that
do
has
that.
nothing to do with the Imagined Order, and is only found in one other location, Trace's outfit. Trace has water powers, and as we know, he's the head of the Luminaries Expedition crew.
The Benders.
Despite this, he tells Sloane, you know more about this place than anyone else on the island. I'm curious how. So they don't have a history together, they have only just met, but they have the same outfits? This could lead to a partnership where Sloane and Trace work together to solve the mystery of the apparatus.
Or they are part of the same group in either different cells or different time periods, time loop. I swear to God, you better clip this, you better remember this. If this in the future is confirmed that the whole Fortnite story is a time loop that recurs over and over and over again, and the goal is not just to break the loop of the Fortnite 22-minute reset loop, but also to break the time loop of the disasters reoccurring over and over again and having the same events reoccur and having reality break down and reassemble itself over and over again. I think that's the overall story. I think that's what we're going for.
With his water powers, he could lead her to find powers of her own, like sand. The true mystery is of course centered around the jungle. I've shown you all the evidence and clues hiding in these temples, which all points to one thing, the last reality. It's very possible this was the origin of their army, where scientists and visionaries came together to invent rifts and travel across realities. The apparatus could have been used for anything, but I think it's a telescope that could see into the future. In the drawings, it projects the cube's cradle into the sky, and considering how old this is, they were clearly using it to predict what would happen. As time goes on, the other 4 prophecies may reveal different moments of the story, until finally we're shown the future of Chapter 4. That's
There you go. See, it sees the past, but it also sees the future because they created this apparatus with these events already known. The past and the future is already known because it's a time
why
loop.
turning it on is so important, so we can defend ourselves from its final threat. Maybe these scientists weren't the last reality or anyone relevant. They could have been a civilization who found out the truth of the cubes and were wiped out because of it. Or maybe they were brainwashed by the last reality and forced to worship them, as seen by the statues. Remember, multiple groups in the storyline are inspired by real life, like the Oathbound's medieval ties, the Imagined Order acting like a government, and then the Ancients, who are way too similar to the Mayans. In history, the Mayans were also obsessed with the stars in the night sky. They designed calendars, observed planets, and their temples were basically identical to the ones in Fortnite right now. More importantly, the Mayans are known for predicting the future. Whether it was accurately guessing solar eclipses or changes in the stars, they were usually
Yeah, they weren't like super good at it though. They weren't like the best at it. Oh my God, there's a spider on my camera. What the fuck?
right. But most famously, people believe the Mayans foreshadowed the end of the world, claiming that Armageddon would come on the 0 date, where our present universe would be annihilated. The next Fortnite Live event is confirmed to be this December, and with a literal telescope to the future, the days of us living on this island are officially numbered. That is Fortnite Season 3 storyline explained so far.
Holy
This has been
shit,
Tommy
what a
and people-
storyline! I swear to God, I'm clocking this in right now. The whole storyline is a loop, and they are adding in ways for people to predict the loop. The ancient civilization knows what's coming and knows what's gonna happen, or knows what's happened in the past, because everything is a recursive flat circle where the future is the past and the past is the future.